is a contributor with many broadcast networks, including Fox News, CNN, worked with the Republican National Convention, worked with the Trump campaign, has been involved on all aspects of media on this issue.
I agree with you. It's what is the end game, right? Because if you look at statistics within the NFL this year, let's see, Super Bowl 2018 had a 7% loss in viewership. It was the lowest since 2009. And the NFL TV ratings are down 10% from last season. And to say that that is not part and parcel with the social movement, it would be a difficult argument to make. And I guess if the end game is to play football, which the opportunity to do so is, you know, the statistics on that are crazy, just to become a professional football player. It's what is your end game? Is your end game to be a social justice warrior, or is it to play football? And I think that there has to be that distinction, that you have to ask yourself that question, because it is having greater impacts. It's changing viewership, it's changing how you're seen, it's changing what endorsement deals you're getting. So I think you can talk about it in theory, but in practice it's a whole nother implication.
Well,
repercussions, financial or otherwise.
Well,
it's a balancing test.
Absolutely, but
it's a balancing test. What do you want? Are you going to lose those endorsements? Are you okay with the ratings being lower? Are you okay with isolating half of the population and having viewership be down? It's just, what is your end game? And the people in the military feel that half of them, they sit there and say, I'm in a wheelchair, I can't stand. You should stand because I can't. I fought our country. So you're kneeling, it's just blatantly disrespectful to the military.
What I've had are in a wheelchair now is to give us that voice. They fought for us to have that freedom.
I don't think that's true.
What do they fight for?
I mean, they can't, the flag is something that they put their whole life on the line for. When people in the military die, they put a flag on their casket.
Well, there's black men dying in our country.
Those are two separate issues.
Actually, I don't think there's said that.
I think one thing I
think that's still an accurate statement. I still stand behind the statement that it is the way that I'm framing it. Because first of all, to call it a white supremacist agenda, I think you lose a lot of people right there, including myself. But I mean, well, I'll speak for myself. But having said that, I think that just like a corporate, let's talk about real life implications as opposed to sociology for a minute. If you're going to go work at a corporation, everyone's an at-will employee, okay? In the real life and in the real world, if you do something that your boss doesn't like, you're an at-will employee and you can be fired for it. And those are the consequences of putting on your big girl pants and putting on your big boy pants and living in the real world. I'm just going back to just the statistics about what the viewers at home think. I think that they want to turn on the TV on Sunday after they've worked and had a hard week, and they just want to watch a football game and have a nice afternoon instead of having someone shove an agenda down their throat.
I think you're confusing.
Because the numbers are still down. So this kind of activism certainly hasn't created more popularity for the sport.
But you're also narrowly focused. It's a totally different circumstance, and so it's a pick and choose?
No, not at all. We're talking about football and politics. We're talking about women and sexual abuse, so that's the answer.
We're talking about sports and politics.
Yeah, so being sexually abused has something to do with politics? Not in my book.
Well, I
Can I ask
appreciate
a question? With the kneeling, I do think, and tell me what your opinion is as an athlete, it became about one thing. It's sort of, people were wondering, so wait, what are we kneeling for? And there were so many different mixed messages, and it was like, what was the exact message, and was there something lost in the messaging? And that's how I think there might have been some of the concern with the military. And so what was it about?
It's never been about military, it's never been about,
LeBron, his charity work sounds, philanthropically amazing, but he said he spewed a lot of vitriol to the president, which is his First Amendment right. So why isn't it Laura Ingram's First Amendment right to tell him to shut up? It is. It is. And I know you sit in this room, we from Malibu to Manhattan in academia have to realize that there's a whole world out there. And if you look at that world, Donald Trump is the president of the United States, and your laughs and jeers, it's not the first time, it's not the last, and it's not even the 35th. And if I'll go to statistics, the Quinnipiac poll just shows that 54% of voters believe that the president deserves credit for the strength of the U.S. economy. A Rasmussen poll said 51% of the country supports President Trump. His approval rating is higher than President Barack Obama's at the time. So if nothing else, use this as a wake-up call to yourselves.
We're not here to debate that, Erin.
But it's true, and those are facts. And that's how
Right.
the greater portion of America feels the way that I do, then that way. So that's something to just sit
No, I
and digest
understand.
and
That's what's
process.
brought out this
And it
negativity
makes you
about it.
uncomfortable, but it's the facts and it's the truth. And those people aren't white supremacists. They're hardworking Americans that pay our taxes and fight our wars.
Erin, I think it goes back to, I am not sure what it is.
You just said
kept
I have an
going-
end goal about football,
Yeah,
so
you were
don't
saying,
say I
what's the end
don't.
goal? The ratings are down, the ratings are down. You have like.
No, I have no end goal.
There's
My
a
end goal is to
limitation around the
repeat
end
the
goal.
statistics.
So 50%,
Don't put words
54%
in
of
my mouth.
Americans, I'm restating what you said.
I
right?
did not say
So
I have an end goal
54%
about
of
football.
Americans who, whatever the data you just rattled off, have some end goal in mind.
No, they
So,
don't. They don't want to watch anymore
your
because
end
they don't
goal-
like these antics.
There's an end goal in mind that supersedes all of these other little statistics.
And what is that
There's
end
another
goal?
worldview. That's not for me to answer. I'm not part of that percentage, but my end goal is America.
And yes,
Well, I guess it's about, again, what we're trying to achieve. And I certainly didn't come with an agenda other than just, to talk and learn. I think Justin was extremely informative to me and taught me a great deal about the movement. I think it's people coming together and having conversations where people don't use words like white supremacist and allude to white privilege. It's more about talking about learning what that movement is really about and what it means to you and someone who has actually lived it. Because then it allows other people to go out and spread the message. Hey, I spoke to Justin Tuck today and he taught me X, Y, and Z. And without throwing terms around and without laughing at people and using derogatory names, it's learning and listening and trying to have a greater understanding, because then there will be change and it will be for the better for everybody.
Justin Tuck. Great.